Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today let's make a Hemostat Mandala shirt. The shirt was prepped like normal and I have it turned inside out. I'm going to put the mandala on both the front and the back of the shirt, so I want to go ahead and center the shirt. This process is going to go really fast, but down below in the description for this video, I have a link to another video which shows how to center a shirt. Essentially what I'm doing when I center a shirt is getting both sides of the front of the shirt next to each other and both sides of the back of the shirt next to each other. That way whenever I apply the dye, both of the front sides are going to look more similar or alike because they're right up next to each other. The same thing applies to the back. Okay, so I have the shirt centered, and the center of both the front of the shirt and the back of the shirt are facing me. I'm going to begin by grabbing the hem of the shirt and folding it up to the neck of the shirt to fold the shirt in half. With each fold, I'm going to try to smooth out the wrinkles. Now I'm going to grab the hem of the shirt and fold it part way down, kind of beginning an airplane fold. Then I'm going to turn the shirt over and do the same thing on the other side. So if you'll notice, the side that's facing away from me only has 2 folds, and the side that's facing me has all the rest of the folds. I'm going to spin the shirt and take the side that has 2 folds and fold it toward that center line that has all the rest of the folds. Then I'm going to flip the shirt over and do the same thing on the other side. So each time I make a fold, I'm always pulling from the side that only has 2 folds and folding toward the side that has all the rest of the folds. So when your mandala is complete, you should only have 2 folds on one side and a multitude of folds on the other side. I'm going to straighten my folds just a little bit before I begin applying the hemostats. So for tie-dye, I prefer locking hemostats that are either 10 inches or 12 inches in size. I use both straight and curved hemostats. Then, to avoid the teeth of the hemostats damaging the fabric, I just buy some heat shrink tubing in the electrical department at my local department store, place that over the teeth of the hemostats, and then use a heat gun to shrink it down to fit. If there's any excess left at the ends, I just use a pair of scissors and trim that off. It does a couple of things. It does protect the fabric from the teeth of the hemostats damaging it, and it also helps give a better and tighter grip on the shirt and makes the hemostats a little easier to clean after I'm finished using them. So the fun thing about making mandalas is you basically can place lines wherever you want to on the shirt. It is just a personal preference. So when I'm using hemostats, hemostats take the place of tying a sinew line in that area. So sometimes it's just fun to experiment placing the hemostats in different areas and seeing what the final shirt looks like. So for this shirt, I'm beginning by placing a pair of straight hemostats down at the very end at an angle. Then I'm going to add another pair of straight hemostats at an angle on the other side. Then from here, I'm going to kind of do the Patricia Otten method where I use the curved hemostats and I place them facing each other. It's a little difficult to tell with this pair of hemostats because my heat shrink tubing is white, but the curve is facing up. Then I'm using another pair of hemostats, and I'm facing the curve down so that it kind of makes a little arch with the two curves from the hemostats. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and then I'm going to continue this pattern down the shirt, alternating back and forth until I run out of room and I run out of curved hemostats. By the way, if you don't know where to purchase hemostats, I have a link down below in the description for this video for where you can purchase some from Amazon. Like I said, the majority of the ones that I'm using on this shirt, especially the curved ones, are 12-inch hemostats. You want to make sure that the ones that you purchase are sturdy hemostats, and then you need to be a little bit cautious whenever you're placing them on the shirt because it's not uncommon for them to pop off of the shirt. So you want to make sure that it doesn't hit you in the eye or hurt anybody close in around you. Okay, so I don't have enough hemostats that I can go ahead and add another row. So I'm going to open up the rest of the shirt a little bit and kind of scrunch a few folds in it and hold those in place with some rubber bands. Then I'm going to place the shirt aside and allow it to dry out totally and completely so that I can get better color saturation in the center of this mandala fold. If you'd like a little bit more information about why I prefer to dye my mandalas dry, I have a blog post out on my website, which kind of gives a little bit more information about that. There's a link to my website down below this video in the description, and I have blog posts out there for several tie-dye topics. Okay, so the shirt is completely dry, and I'm ready to start applying the dye. I'm going to ice dye this shirt, and it's not very easy to make an ice barrier around the area where I've used the hemostats, but I can use my silicone cake molds and make kind of an ice barrier around the portion right at the very end that I just scrunched. So I'm wrapping some silicone cake molds around that area, and then I'm using some wooden clothespins, which I'm going to attach to my metal rack, to hold the silicone cake molds up close to the shirt. I've chosen some greens and blues to use on the shirt, and I'm going to alternate those down the shirt. I'm beginning with Wasabi from Dharma. Then I'm using Seashell Blue from Grateful Dyes. Dark Green from Pro Chemical and Dye. Peacock Blue from Dharma. Better Blue Green from Dharma. Blue MX2G from Custom Colors. Then I'm going to go back in with a little bit more Wasabi. In the last hemostat section, I'm going to use Seashell Blue. On the scrunch portion, I'm using the blue MX2G and I'm using the dark green. I'm placing a small sprinkle of soda ash over the top of the die. Then I'm going to place on the ice. I'm just gently trying to place ice cubes on the area where the hemostats are. Then I can pile up the ice a little bit more on the scrunch portion, but I'm trying to just kind of press down ice pieces in my hemostat area. I set the shirt aside and I allowed the ice to melt. I came back and added ice a couple more times to the hemostat area, just a couple small pieces at a time. I added a second layer of ice to the scrunch portion. After all the ice melted, I allowed the shirt to process for at least 24 hours. So this is what the shirt looked like right before I started rinsing it. As you can tell, the dye has gone through to the backside really well. I started rinsing like normal, rinsing in cold water to get out the soda ash. And after rinsing in cold for a while, I went ahead and took the hemostats off of the shirt. Then I warmed the water up to hot and rinsed in hot water to rinse out any of the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. When the water was running almost clear, I put the shirt along with a little bit of Dharma's textile detergent into my washing machine and washed it using a hot water cycle. Then after the shirt was washed and dried, this is what it looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think? I really like this shirt. Of course, I tend to like the darker color palettes, so that appeals to me on this shirt. But I think the blue and the green work really well together. And because I centered the shirt before I began folding it and using the hemostats, both sides of the front of the shirt look very much alike, and the same thing for the back. Overall, the shirt has pretty even saturation as well. You can tell when you look at the shirt that the top portion of the mandala was the part of the shirt that was on the outside. So the dye is a little bit darker in that area. But I added enough ice to the shirt and forced enough dye down through the shirt that it's not super noticeable. I also like the color splits down at the very bottom of the shirt. I think that's coming out of the wasabi, and I think that's a really pretty look or just a little added interest on the shirt. I also really like the scrunch portion. I love the way the dye moved and the effect that it gave on the shirt. I think it looks really cool. So if you guys have enjoyed watching this video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.